Hey there guys, today I'm going to show you how I built this steel address sign with the help of my Forney 20P plasma cutter, and at the end of the build I will tell you about how you can enter into a giveaway to win a Forney 20P plasma cutter of your own. So let's get to the build, and then at the end I will talk about some of the details, but it's pretty simple. You just got to comment down below, follow myself and Forney, and a few other things. So let's get to it, and then we'll talk about the giveaway. So like a lot of my projects go, I ended up changing my plans before I had even started, and it was all because of this piece of steel right here. I had originally planned on using something thinner gauge as well as smaller in dimension, but on my last trip to my local industrial metal supply, I saw this piece sitting on one of the outdoor remnant racks for 49 cents a pound, and it was just too good to pass up. It's 4 inches by 6 inches and almost 1/8 inch thick, and I'm thinking it should be bomb proof and last a really long time. And fortunately this 20P plasma cutter is rated to cut up to 1/4 inch thick steel, so this 1/8 inch thick tubing should be no match for it. And that's pretty impressive because this is a 120 volt machine that can be plugged into just about any average household outlet. Alright, so I've got it all cut and laid out, and I just realized I made a bit of a mistake. Steel tubing usually has a seam on one side, and this is where the seam is. Unfortunately, this is where I was planning on putting the address numbers. The upright post doesn't have the seam on the side, but luckily I bought an extra piece just in case, so I'm going to recut another piece, and then I will get them put together and cut the numbers. Round 2, done. Now that I've got the numbers painted on, it gives me a good high contrast outline in which to follow with the plasma cutter. But I'm going to cut this in 2 stages. First, I'm going to use this square to cut all of my straight lines. It'll give me a nice clean straight line, and then everything that has a curve or a weird angle, I'll just go ahead and freehand that. I've done that a few times in the past, and I think it comes out pretty good. It's definitely not CNC machine quality, but for handheld work it works pretty good. And there it is, all cut out. I think it looks pretty darn good. This plasma cutter does an amazing job of cutting. As you can see, all of these straight lines where I used a guide are perfectly straight and super clean. The only real imperfections are where I went freehanding and I kind of got off course a little bit. I may clean some of those curves up with a Dremel or something, but overall I'm pretty happy with it.
And the next thing I'm going to do is cut some holes on the top where I think I'm planning on putting some sort of solar landscaping light that I can just kind of insert like that will light this up at night. But I need to run to town real quick to see what I can find.
One quick change of plans before I go get the solar lights. I started thinking about the open end of this signpost and what it would be used for. My original plan was just leave it open. People could put newspapers in there, mail between neighbors, different things like that. But then I started thinking undoubtedly a bird would probably nest in there. So I went ahead and cut this little door out of one of the scrap pieces of tubing, and then I will fasten it on here just like this, and it will pivot on this little barrel hinge. I just got back from the store, and here's the light I'm thinking about using. It is a solar landscape light with a little solar panel on top. So I think I'm going to cut a little square off the top and let this kind of sit flush with the top of the sign, and then have this shine towards the back of the numbers. And then I got a piece of acrylic. It was clear, and I've just been sanding it so that it will kind of provide a translucent backing for the numbers. I actually started with a few of these, but they just weren't bright enough. So let me cut the top off and then see if I can fit this inside. Alright, it's all fit. That's kind of a pain in the butt to set, but it's in there, and we'll see if she works. Alright, so that's it for the build. As you can see, I still have a few things to work out in regard to the nighttime lighting of the numbers. I'm happy with the way the frosted acrylic diffuses the light at night. I'm just not super happy with the lack of contrast that it has during the daytime, as opposed to just the plain number cutouts. So I may try to keep my eyes open for a different type of material that might look brighter during the day, but also diffuse the light about the same that the acrylic did. One thing I forgot to do was to add some eye bolts onto the bottom, which I will probably do after I get done filming this, and that will be for the person who eventually gets the sign, so they can choose to hang a nameplate or something underneath the sign as they choose. And also, one other thing I wanted to point out is that this plasma cutter on this tubing was cutting 1/8 inch thick steel, and most commonly plasma cutting projects are going to be using quite a bit thinner like sheet metal. So at the rate that you saw me moving on this steel, basically the thinner you go in your material, the smoother and quicker you will be able to glide over your workpiece. So anyway, just for whoever ends up winning that 16 gauge, 18 gauge, that is probably going to be your sweet spot in plasma cutting projects, and you're pretty much going to be able to draw on it like paper. With that said, now let's get on to the giveaway. I'm not going to be able to remember and recite everything just off the top of my head, so I'm going to give you the quick and dirty, and then for the rest of the details I'm going to ask you to read in the description. So the quick and dirty is that you need to comment in this YouTube video down below You need to like this video, subscribe to myself here on YouTube and on Instagram, and also subscribe to Forney on YouTube as well as Instagram. Forney Industries is the sponsor of this video. They are supplying the plasma cutter to give away to the person. They supplied this one to me to build the sign that you saw me build, and they are the ones who are going to be picking the person. So all of those sweetheart emails that I'm guessing I might have gotten, there's no amount of sweetness you could tell me that is going to sway me to pick you, because I'm not going to be the person picking it, but it will be then. So anyway, I do want to wish you good luck. I think this is an awesome opportunity. You're basically going to know your odds based on the number of comments down below. So if there's 200 or 300 comments, you're going to have 1 in 200 or 300 chance, which I think is pretty darn good. As always, I appreciate you guys watching. Like this video, subscribe to me if you want to see other content, check me out on Instagram, and I think the next video I'm going to see you on will be back to the travel trailer. See ya.